Recent times have been very difficult for bookstores, with even the most dedicated customers shopping and even reading online. Our guest is trying to buck the trend by opening a bookstore with a mission that's both foreign and very local. It's an Italian-American bookstore in the North End. To tell us more is the president of I Am Books, the founder of the magazine Bostoniano, Nicola Orichuia. Thank you very much for being with us, Nicola.
Thank you, Chris, for having me.
First of all, talk about your own bridge to America from Italy. How did that work for you?
So I came here in 2008, came to Chicago first, and then after 2 years, moved with my wife, who's also Italian, to Boston. And we've loved it since day one. And I wanted to keep that connection with my roots. And since being here in the States, I've always been covering the Italian-American community, first in Chicago with the local magazine there that covers the Italian-American community. And then here, I started my own website to do that, which then, little by little, it transformed into a print magazine called Bostoniano, and it comes out every month. And then now, hopefully, this bookstore.
Well, you're talking about this as an Italian-American parent, and you're raising children. You want them to learn something about their parents' culture. And I guess there's a difference between that, what you want, and what's out there in the mass media.
Yeah, I think there's a big gap, and we need to fill that gap because mass media really doesn't help and cover what Italian Americans nowadays really are looking for, which is what is their history, what are their roots really, what does it mean to be Italian. And what has happened over the past decade is that younger generations of Americans of Italian heritage are looking to rediscover where their grandparents came from, where their ancestors came from. This is something different. You know, in the 60s and 70s, it used to be that the Italian side of the family would try to, they tried to keep it down. And now it's the opposite. They're trying to really put it into the spotlight.
What about the kind of culture stuff that you're trying to get into the store? What's this going to be like if it goes according to plan?
So, of course, it's a bookstore. So first of all, we'll be selling books, but we also sell different items. There's going to be a children's section because I think it's very important for parents to have that opportunity to give their children either learning material, books, toys, games that are either Italian, made in Italy, or can help introduce the child to the Italian culture and the Italian language, for example. Being an Italian-American bookstore doesn't necessarily mean that we'll have books in Italian. We'll have those, of course, but most of them will be in English because it's not an Italian bookstore. It's an Italian-American bookstore. So there's a big difference there. So we'll have Italian officers, of course, but it's about trying to understand what it does mean to be an American of Italian heritage today. And that is a discussion that's ongoing both on the streets and in academia. And hopefully this is a place that people can come from all parts of the country and contribute to that discussion.
Well, right now, Americans are discovering this author Elena Ferrante, and you can get her books in translation. I've seen them in Brookline, but what's the importance of having something like that in the North End, where somebody walking in the door might never have seen it before?
I think it's very important because what happens is when you have a bookstore like this, what you're offering is a wide variety of topics and subjects that someone might not even have known about. So, for example, if someone's ancestors were from Sicily and they're very interested in discovering more about those roots, we'll have books on Sicily, on not only the history, on the food, on you name it, and we'll try to cover all bases as much as we can in a space that is not huge, but that's what we want to do. We want someone to come in who might be in the North End just as a tourist or walking by because they want a cannoli, and then they walk into our bookstore and they actually find more than what they were expecting when they came to the North End.
What about the people who are born in the United States but are starting to learn Italian? What about, is that a market for you too?
Absolutely. I have to say that being Italian nowadays is cool. It seems to be really growing, especially when we think about food. Now Boston is having all these new Italian restaurants come next year. Italy from the Batali, Bastianich venture is coming to the Prudential Center. So it's going to be there's going to be a lot of talk about Italian food. And the North End is the same way. There's a lot of Italian food, and there's great restaurants, great pastry shops, and cafes. But what we want to offer is that other side. We want to offer a chance to actually learn something, and not only enjoy the food, which is always great, of course.
So you've got a Kickstarter campaign, so explain how this is going to work.
So we're raising funds to make this dream possible, and we're doing it through a Kickstarter campaign, which is a crowdfunding website, one of the most popular, I should say, in the world. And the way it works is we're looking for $36,000, which is just enough to really kind of kick it off and run it for 3 months. And the way Kickstarter works is if we reach that goal, we get the money. If we don't get anything, and no one who has pledged, pays anything. So I really hope everyone, who's listening can contribute, even, $1, $10, $25. It really makes a difference. Rome wasn't built in a day, we know. So it's one brick at a time, and hopefully we'll get there.
Right, and if people want to find out more, there's a place they can look for that online too?
Absolutely. We have a website that's going to direct people directly to our campaign. It's iambooksboston.com. And so, as I said, please visit.
Thank you very much for being with us from I Am Books, Nicola Orichuia. And we'll have more news in just a moment.